I'm Courtney, and it's been a hot minute since I've filmed anything. I'm sorry. November was just a very busy month for me with school, and then these last 2 weeks I've been finishing up major assignments, and then I had finals, so I was just really stressed out. But it's over now. I'm done with the semester, so now I can enjoy Christmas break and also film. So today I'm going to be talking about what got me through this last semester because it was utter chaos. I was so busy with school and then there was COVID, so there was just always a lot going on and I was just really stressed out the whole entire time. But at the end of the day, the way I would just detox and relax would be going to Webtoon and reading comics on there. If you have no idea what Webtoon is, it's a platform where you can just read comics, and there are so many genres you can choose from, like romance, mystery, comedy, drama. Honestly, just all the genres are there, and you can read the comics on the Webtoon app, or they also have a website. I love Webtoon so very much. I always look forward to getting in my bed at the end of the day and reading whatever comic I'm reading at the moment. It's just been a really great way for me to relax, and I've also have just discovered so many fascinating stories, and I love all the artwork in the comics. Like, everything about Webtoon is just so magical and awesome. So since Webtoon is like my thing at the moment, I thought it would be really fun to share some of the comics that I have read on Webtoon so far and share what they're about, my thoughts on those comics, and hopefully inspire some of you to read them. So let's get started. So the comic that started my Webtoon journey was Heartstopper by Osman. I discovered this comic from someone I follow on Tumblr. Every so often they would post about this and I would be like, oh my god, this looks super cute, I want to check this out. But then I would do absolutely nothing to try and find it. One day in September, however, this person posted about it again, and I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to try and find this. And I did. I found Heartstopper, I found Webtoon, and I immediately became obsessed. If you don't know what Heartstopper is about, it's about these two boys, Nick and Charlie, who go to an all-boys British grammar school, and it just shows their journey of meeting one another, becoming friends, and then falling in love. Heartstopper is literally the most wholesome story I've ever read in my whole entire life. Like, every time I read it, I am just filled with such overwhelming joy. Like, Charlie and Nick are just the sweetest boys ever. I love them so much, and their relationship is written so well. And also just them as individuals. Like, I love watching Nick and Charlie grow. Heartstopper also addresses a lot of important issues like sexuality and mental health, and I have personally just been very educated on certain things from reading this comic, which is something I did not expect when I started reading this, but I am so grateful for the awareness that Osman has brought to certain things. I will say, because of that, I would recommend looking up the trigger warnings for Heartstopper, because some of the things discussed are sensitive issues, and I did not do this because I was not aware that sensitive issues were going to be brought up. But the good thing is, whenever those things are discussed in certain chapters of Heartstopper, there are trigger warnings before the chapter begins. So she does give a warning, like, you're not just going into the dark. Like, she does give a heads up, but I would recommend looking up the trigger warnings anyway if you want to start reading Heartstopper. But Heartstopper is just the absolute cutest thing in the world, and I am so glad that I read it. And if you haven't read it yet, please go do so. There are 6 volumes, so there is a lot of content for you to read, and it updates on the 1st, 11th, and 21st of every month. The next comic that I want to talk about is Lower Olympus by Rachel Smythe. This is another comic that I discovered from Tumblr, but it wasn't from someone I follow. I would actually see Lower Olympus trending on Tumblr's like top 9 sometimes, in like the top 3, which is so crazy. So Lower Olympus is a modern, very dark retelling of the Hades and Persephone love story. If you're unaware, I am a really big fan of Percy Jackson, so going into Lower Olympus almost felt like a betrayal to it, just because whenever I read stuff about Greek mythology, it's usually PJO, so I really did not know how I was gonna feel about Lower Olympus. But this comic has honestly been so refreshing. It's been really nice to read about Greek mythology that isn't PJO and see how other people portray the gods. And I think Rachel Smythe has done a really good job at writing the gods, especially Hades and Persephone. I have enjoyed them more than I would think because I have just never been really interested in Hades and Persephone. Nothing against them, I just have never had an interest. But she has done a really great job writing their characters and their relationship, and I have enjoyed it so very much. If you haven't read Lower Olympus yet, you are definitely missing out because it is the #1 trending series on Webtoon, so like, you should join the bandwagon. It's currently in its 2nd season right now, and it updates every Sunday, so along with Heartstopper, there is a lot of content for you to read. The next comic I want to talk about is Sub-Zero by Purr. This is my favorite comic that I have read on Webtoon so far. Like, I think about this comic at least once a day. Sub-Zero is about these 2 clans who have been fighting for centuries, and both sides are now just totally over it, so they want to put an end to the war, and their solution is to have the princess from one clan, Clove, marry the prince from the other clan, Cairo, and these 2 people do not want to get married to each other, so it's them having to deal with trying to make this alliance happen, and then Cairo is about to become king of his own clan, and there's also dragons. There's dragons. The only reason why I started reading Sub-Zero was because I just kept seeing it everywhere on Webtoon. Like, it was recommended to me because I read Lower Olympus, and then it was in like the top trending series and like top trending romance. Like, I just kept seeing it everywhere, and I was like, alright, I guess this is a sign that I should check it out. Thank God I did, because Sub-Zero is my absolute favorite thing on the planet. It is so well written. I love the storyline. I love the politics, which is a surprising thing for me to say because I'm not a political person at all, but it's just so interesting in this comic, and the artwork is absolutely gorgeous, and I love the characters, Cairo and Clove. Oh my god, my babies. The enemies to lovers trope between them is just absolute perfection. Like, everything about Sub-Zero is just 10 out of 10. If you haven't read Sub-Zero yet, please go do so. You will not regret it. It's the best thing ever, and you can read all of season 1 right now because it's actually on pause right now. So I do not know when season 2 is coming out, but hopefully it's soon, because like, I really miss Cairo and Clove. The next comic I want to talk about is Miss Abbott and the Doctor by Maria Faze Villar. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. This is a Victorian era rom-com, which, if you know me, I'm obsessed with the Victorian period because I love Queen Victoria. So when I discovered this, I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but it looks really fun and I want to know what's gonna go down. I have enjoyed this comic so much. It's so lighthearted and fun. I love reading the adventures between Miss Abbott and Dr. Marino and getting to see them fall in love through the time they spend together. And I also love the little modern twist that are in this comic, because even though it is the Victorian era, like, there is diverse and LGBTQ plus representation, which is super awesome. This comic is actually completed, which is great, but also like I absolutely hate that because I'm almost done and I just know I'm gonna have a mental breakdown once I'm done with it because this comic has just brought so much joy to my heart and I am not ready for it to be over with. The last comic I want to share with you all today is Faze by Jokey. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. This is the most recent comic I've started on Webtoon, and honestly, I only discovered this because Webtoon was doing a free coins challenge and this was one of the webtoons you could read, and I just wanted some free money. But the comic actually looked really interesting to me, so I went back and actually started to read it, and I'm really glad I did because this comic is so fascinating. So Faze is about a girl named Min who's had a really hard life. She's in a lot of debt and she can't find a job anywhere, so she is just going through it. But then one day she's offered a deal where if she lives with this guy named Shu for 1 whole year, then she will get $50 million. So she agrees, but this deal comes with a lot of trials, there's a lot of secrets, there's mystery. I wasn't sure if I was gonna like this comic just because of the summary. I was like, that seems suspicious, but then I started reading it and I was like, oh, low-key, this is interesting. Faze is pretty new, so there are not a lot of episodes to it, so you can catch up with it pretty quickly, and it updates every Wednesday. But that, my friends, were some of the comics that I have read on Webtoon, and I hope you enjoyed listening to my thoughts, and I also hope that I inspired some of you to check the comics out, as well as just like get Webtoon in general, because Webtoon is just such an awesome place. If you all have any comics that I should check out on Webtoon, please send in your recommendations in the comment section down below. I'm always looking for new comics to read, so I would love to hear some of the Webtoons that you guys have read. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I am Courtney, and I'll see you all next time with a new video soon, so I will see you then. So